What's going on out there?
What's up, Mr. Plowman? How you doing, my friend?
What's going on, Mr. Reese, man? You know, once again, the Plow Zone Gone Wild has a great show, man. We got the members of Once an Outlaw.
Bring them on. Let's bring on.
All right.
Jeff Howell. What up, Jeff?
Woo, baby.
Jeff Howell. Jeff
AJ.
Howell.
Oh, yeah. You guys, man, my brother.
Mr. Chris Hicks. And we got one more coming on. The man himself, Mr. Chris Anderson. Welcome to
Guys,
the
the birthday boy, baby.
Hey, everybody.
That's right.
So,
Another
You
year.
know the center square like Paul Lynn? You know the center square? Go ahead.
So we got a big happy birthday to somebody today or what?
Yes.
It was yesterday.
Birthday.
happy birthday to Chris Anderson.
Thank you, guys.
You look like you're about 38, 39-ish, I think.
Really legal.
Again, 39 again.
Hello, guys. So, Once an Outlaw, how'd this band come about, man? How'd you guys all come together, man, to form this?
It's all Chuck.
Yeah,
What's all Chuck? Oh, that's me.
throw the ball, Chuck.
Well, I met Age and I played with Chris about this time last year. Just called him up and said, "Hey, man, how'd you like to come up to New Hampshire for a while?" And we kind of hit it off really good. And one thing led to another, and I called Jeff, I think, to do a show in Albany, New York with us. And he said, "Hey, man, I know this guy Hicks." I'm like, wait a minute, is that guy from Tucker? And he called Chris, and kind of one thing led to another, and said, "Hey, let's get together in New Hampshire and see how it feels." It felt pretty good so far, so off to the races.
Very nice.
Yeah. So as in being back on stage and jamming, man, how did it feel to be back on stage and rocking and getting a response from the crowd? Because it's been a while, this Corona thing. It's kind of put a whole loop in the world. I mean, the whole world is reinventing itself. So I know everybody's been out to feel to get back on stage and just rock out, man. Oh,
Man,
yeah.
I got to say, it's just felt great just to get out and play again in front of people and try to get back to some sense of normalcy.
Yep. And to all of us, and you can see it from us looking out, you can see it in their faces. And like, holy cow. And the band sounds real good. We've all fallen together really well, really quick. For whatever reason, there's a lot of reasons. But the bottom line is, it is what it is. It's really good. And so, yeah, it's just been, making lemonade out of a lemon. Best we can, right?
So you kind of took the part of the Outlaws. You guys were together, and then you singer with Marshall Tucker. I mean, you guys have been around the Southern music scene for a very long time.
Rock in general, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
all played with a lot of different bands. I think that just shows we can't hold a job, but
so now we have Chris Hicks, and we are gonna unmute his mic and then bring on Mr. Chris Hicks.
How you doing?
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Good.
Hey, what's going on? So when did you pick up your first guitar, man?
Guitar when I was about 8 years old with my grandfather, Wilbur Guthrie. Started playing as a young boy and played with him until he passed away a month shy of being 100 years old.
Wow. So would you say he was your greatest influence, hey?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was my greatest early influence. He was a mandolin player. He played guitar also, but he taught me guitar to accompany him and some of his buddies. And
how old were you? How old were you, Chris?
About 8 years old.
Way back in the day, huh?
Yeah.
So tell me your writing process. How's it going in the studio with you, man? The writing process and all that and recording.
Man, it's all different. I've got songs that the words and the music all came at once. I've still got music now that I don't have words to, and vice versa. It all depends, You have to hold on to stuff until it finds its place sometime, I think.
So it might not be right now, but it's still in development. A lot of stuff is still in development, say, right? Right on.
But I played with the Outlaws in Tucker in those bands.
With those guys, okay.
Toured together, a lot and stuff. It's hard to say a favorite though. They're both great. The Tucker and the Outlaws both have a Western thing about them. From Toy and Huey, they weren't cowboys, but somewhere in their soul they had a Western thing, man, and they both were aware of it, and it's very kindred spirit between those two.
Very cool.
Right on. So, like we said earlier, what's some of the things about on the road? Say some of the perks, the ups and downs on the road.
The groupies are definitely a perk. Everything else is bad. no, one thing that's great on the road is you learn valuable history lessons. I didn't pay much attention to history in high school and all. When I got a little older and went on the road, you see it firsthand, so it makes it matter to you more. And you start kind of, or I did anyway, start kind of paying attention to how things came along in different locations. And it's a great learning process to meet people on the road.
Yeah, you learn a lot when you travel through. You get to enjoy everything from the country, and it's great. So, what was your favorite tour that you went on?
One of my favorite tours was the Southern Spirit Tour. I was still in the Outlaws at that point. I think it was '96, and it was 38 Special Outlaws, Marshall Tucker, Fabulous Thunderbirds, and John Butcher. And it was 3.5-4 months long, all across the country and back, and a lot of fun. And we all jammed with each other a bunch, and it was that was one of my most memorable tours of all of them.
What year was that?
96.
96. Go ahead, Mr. Plowman. What you got?
So you want to say anything to your fans out there, and say just music fans or, the crowds? Yeah.
The world's going to start turning again soon, and live music will prevail again. So I know it's been tough for everybody. It's been tough for me too, just not doing it, and but I think that it's around the corner. And, it's been some strange days this year. It really has.
Yeah, it has. The world is totally taking a 180 turn. So the world is reinventing itself, and so does the music business and the music, touring and all that, and musicians and all that. And it's just a shame of how the musicians and the venues got hit the hardest of all this. I think
the good side of it might be like this Once an Outlaw project. This might not have happened had this not happened. So I'm thinking maybe for some young bands or some unknown bands, it might be a good time to shoot the gap and get noticed or something. I'm hoping,
it's created a whole new genre, which we're doing right now, and then with bands being able to play live away from each other, it's changed. The world changed in 8 months now.
Sure did.
Yeah,
definitely.
And it's been super fun. Chris Anderson and I are old friends, and we've always wanted to kind of have a project together. We've done a lot of jamming. We've never been in a band together, but that's changed now. We got this project, and we went and rehearsed at these people's house. And it was like being a teenager again, man. It felt really fun. It was great.
Yeah.
Well, with Jeff Howell, how could you go wrong when you got Jeff Howell in a band?
Jeff Howell, easily the top 3 bass players in the world in my book.
Who was your early influences in music?
Bluegrass music.
Bluegrass.
Which my grandfather didn't call it that, but I only realized that after he passed away. He predated Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys, so he didn't think he played bluegrass, but that's kind of what it was. Mountain music, country folk music, but I played that for many years until I got to be a teenager and the rock and roll bug bit, and that bit pretty hard, and I started listening to Jimi Hendrix and the Allman Brothers and a lot of blues guys, and
got the bug.
The rest is history.
So what we're going to do is we are going to bring on a person for 5 minutes and just talk to them close, and then we'll bring on the next person.
Green room, guys. Green room, guys.
Green room. Yeah, you guys know what the green room is.
Oh, this is Chris Anderson. What's up, Chris?
Wow, you guys are so glad you had us do this. This is the first time I've done something like this in a long time.
Nice.
Very cool. So, Chris, what was your first influences in music, man? What was the first music you heard that really caught your ear?
Well, I guess it was probably the blues, Freddie King. But the Allman Brothers played a lot in my hometown, Sarasota, Florida. Dickie Betts is there. And they always have these parties, and I was way too young to get into bars, but I could go to these parties and see these guys play. And I was really influenced by them. And Dickie Betts was a good friend of mine, and he was a big influence on me, and really turned me on to a lot of different, Robert Johnson, and a lot of the blues guys like Freddie King, Albert King, and that's what kind of gave me the fever to do it.
So when did you know that you had musical talent? When did you figure it out? How old were you?
Well, I guess I started playing when I was about 12. I snuck into my sister's bedroom, and I would take her Yamaha classical guitar, and when she wasn't home, and take it in my bedroom and try to, make some noise with it, try to figure it out. And her boyfriend came over one day, and he left his Fender Mustang, I think it was,
Nice.
a white Fender guitar, and I was just like, wow, this is the real thing. And they went on a date, and I took that guitar and played it until they came back. But I guess I was probably, 13, 14 years old when I knew I wanted to do something different than what my father did, which was, the 9-to-5 job.
Correct.
And, so music I caught the bug early on.
Definitely.
So who gave you your best advice, man? Best advice you still hold with you today, man?
Wow.
Something that sticks in your ear. Somebody told you, years ago, or even like last week or something like that,
That's a hard one to even think about.
Get out of the music business.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't quit your day job.
How old were you when you got your first band?
My first band was a band called Southern Express. And I guess I was probably 15, 16 years old. We were too young to get into bars, but we'd play parties. And of course, Allman Brothers. We played, Eric Clapton and Cream music and stuff like that. And I started playing guitar for fun, and I still tell people I play music for fun. I get paid to travel.
We're bringing on Jeff Howell.
Jeff Howell, where's he at? There he is. Right there, Jeff Howell.
Jeff, you are our most frequent guest. You know that, right?
Jeff Howell, what's up, buddy?
You guys are the best. You're the host with the most of both of you, man. You know that.
Yeah, you hold the record for the most getting plowed on the Plows on Radio Show, and right here, Plows on Gone Wild. It's cool.
I brought some amazing guests, did I not?
You are the man.
You are the man. Right
now. I've always been told, though, I gotta be. I'm lucky. If you want good company, you gotta be good company. So I'm hanging with great company. You two guys too, baby. Yoo-hoo,
Thank you.
A while.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. I've listened to old shows, and you've come on the show a lot. We've talked about a lot of things, man. So why don't you give them a rundown about? Why don't you just give a rundown about a little bit about you, man, where you come from, and some of the bands you play with, and maybe about
your history.
Well, sure. You guys and I, we hooked up a while back, and you guys have been fantastic pushing my Boogie Du Jour CD that I did a few years back, and I started doing a lot of shows up in New England because my background as a former member with the Outlaws, with Chris Hicks, during the Southern Spirit tour, we were on together. I turned 33 at Red Rocks during that tour, and Chris was with me that day. We spent the day together walking the trails. He remembers as I'm telling this story. And then in Foghat, these bands, people come and go in these bands, a lot of great players, just like Chris Anderson said, guitar armies. But not everybody gets a chance at their time in those bands to do product. And I was fortunate enough, as was Chris Anderson and as was Chris Hicks with the Outlaws, that at our time in the band, we did do product. And it is what it is. And all these years later, good for us. And we're having fun with it. This was intended for that. And it's just gelling great. It's going over fantastic. It's interesting. I had some people suggest, hey, you should throw in some Tell Mama, do some Savoy Brown. And
why not?
Well, we just actually worked in Want to Make Love, a Foghat version of Willie Dixon blues song, you know. My feeling was this is basically derived out of the Outlaw time in my life, which was a long time ago. I put it away. I put it out of my life for 25 years, and here it is resurrected. And I'm really happy it has and that it is. And I got a phone call from Chuck Farrell to do this, and I didn't know him, but we knew a lot of the same people. Chris Anderson and I had met over the years and shook hands at different times, and always very cordial, always very nice, and always had great guys in his band. So, you know, once again, talk about good company. And so Chuck and Chris were playing, and then AJ I met through Chuck as the drummer that was doing this, and it just fell into place. And as I talked to Chuck, and as the pieces fell into place with Chris Anderson, okay, he's alumni, and then they got me, okay, I'm alumni, and then Chris Hicks says, well, hey, I'd like to do these shows, they sound fun. Well, hey, he's alumni, definitely, you know, and so it just, it built. It started smoldering, and then it went just poof. And I said to Chuck Farrell, I go, you know, you did a really good thing here. And he did a real good thing here. He brought together a good nucleus, and everyone's equally strong and adds a lot to what this is. And we've got nice shows coming up, and, you know, the future holds what it does. But this has been fantastic, and seeing where this goes, I'm really anxious with that. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Plowman, we have our next guest, which is AJ Vallee. He is the drummer of this awesome band. Here we come. What's up, AJ?
Hey, Scott and Scott. What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's going on? So when did you first pick up a pair of sticks, man?
About 5 minutes ago. Found these lying around. Figured I'd do something with them.
Nice.
Well, I guess it started. I was a kid. Both my parents were musicians. You know, my mom was a piano player, and my dad. So music was always around the house. They were piano players mostly. So, you know, my mom, God bless her, bought me a set of drums, and I was probably about 4 or 5 years old. And with the help of my cousin Ricky, I don't know if he's listening out there, but I got to throw that out.
Cousin Ricky, you know he probably got you in trouble too. Cousin Ricky probably got you in some trouble.
Yeah. But so yeah, it started really young, you know, and then I started really getting serious probably around, you know, like Chris, you know, about 12. I started practicing about 3 hours a day. 4 hours a day sometimes. And, you know, I didn't go on many dates or proms or anything, you know?
So who were your early influences?
Early influences, you know, it's, I call it kind of like the three Steves. Steve Gadd is one of my all-time favorites. Steve Gadd. Steve Ferroni is one of my favorite groovers of all time from the Average White Band. Later on with Tom Petty. And Steve Jordan, of course, you know, with Saturday Night Live, and then Eric Clapton, and you know, most records everyone's ever heard. Steve Jordan, who is he? He had a lot of luck with John Mayer in the trio with Pino Palladino. Yeah, so the three Steves are back then and now, you know, and the whole rocker thing, you know, back in the 80s was a lot of fun with some great drummers. But I would say those are probably some of the big ones for me. You know, I was the Allman Brothers Band, I think we all have in common with this band as influences, and Big Brothers are almost like they were sort of like the godfathers of Southern rock, but great songs. What I loved about the Allman Brothers is the jam and the soul, but also the jazz improvisation. And every show was a little different,
right?
Which I try to kind of take with me where I am, and Once an Outlaw has been a whole lot of fun. These guys are like a dream to play with, because
aren't they your idols? I would think.
Yeah, man, it's great. I mean, these guys, it's just kind of wind them up and let them go. They
got to have some great stories they tell, I would think, boy.
There's some good stories, yeah. It's kind of all about the music, honestly, with these guys, with everybody. Where it's like, okay, what are we going to play next? We get up before a run and we'll do like one hour, one rehearsal, cram in as much music as we can, and hope for the best at the show.
So what's your definition of making it, man? So
that's a good question, Plowman.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
That is a really good question. Making it very different, people are. It's really funny when you're out there. You can people not know who you are and say, well, someday when you make it, and then you'll meet somebody else and like, wow, you've made it, and it's a really big, weird, morphed perception of that, I think. I've met very, famous people who don't have a dollar to their name, and I've met non-famous people that are, if you talk financially, you're in the wrong business in music, but unless it's like you're kind of like winning the lottery, but making it for me personally is I'm able to play music and play my drums for a living, and I teach also during the week in my studio in Massachusetts.
How do they get a hold of you?
Oh, yeah. You just find me on the web. It's just my website, ajvallee.com. 2 L.
There we go. ajvallee.com.
Yeah, so AJ, why don't you show us what you got on them drums, man? Why don't you just give us a little sample of what you're all about? You happen to have a pair of sticks in your hand and you're sitting behind the drums. Go for it. Show us, brother.
Yeah, so I don't know. I've been working on this cool little thing, sort of like this as the... I don't know. Just a little grooving,
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So tell us a little bit about Black Hawk. How are you associated with Black Hawk, the band?
Well, when I was in the Outlaws, Henry and I decided we were going to leave and put our own band together. He and Huey couldn't get along too well. And Henry was more the business guy, and I felt like that would have been a good opportunity for me to start a band with him. And it turned into Black Hawk, and I wasn't really ready to play music yet. And so I told him to go on with that, and I was going to do something else. And a couple years later, country music turned into Southern rock. And all of a sudden I fit in to country music. So, after Van Stevenson passed away, Henry called me up and said, why don't you come back and, help me finish this thing we tried to start years ago. Henry, Paul, Van Stevenson, and Dave Robbins were the three guys in the band, the main singers in the band.
Gotcha.
And I remember when Henry would come up here to Nashville and write songs with these guys and come back to Tampa, and he played them for me. And I said, this is just really good stuff. You're going to be successful with it. But I wasn't ready to play country music at the time. I just, at that time, country music was, it was different. And all of a sudden, a couple years later, it turned to Southern rock, and then I fit in. So.
Yeah, now you music with Leonard Skinner, Bad Company, Stephen Stills. Who's your favorite band to write with?
Oh boy. Well, I played with all those guys. I mean, we'd do shows together, and Steven Stills and Mickey Betts. We did some shows down in Florida together. And as far as writing, I mean, I just enjoy doing that with just about anybody. But Dickie and I wrote quite a bit together. And, a lot of stuff didn't make it to records, but some of it did. And it just the whole process of writing was just a lot of fun for me, especially writing with people that were your peers and people that you were influenced by.
Nice. Very cool. Go ahead, Mr. Plowman.
Yeah, so tell us about the recording process, man, in the studio. How's it come about? How's the song come about, get developed with you? Well,
it's usually you sit around with a couple guys with acoustic guitar, unless you write it yourself. You sit around and get an idea for a song, and you show whoever you're writing with, and you kind of develop it together and come up with a lyric, a song hook, and when you get into the studio, it usually takes a whole new shape. When you get a band behind it, other people put in their 2 cents and their ideas, and it's a process, but it's it's fun. It's like you're creating something out of thin air, and that's it.
Very true.
And you can't stand back and look at it, but you can sit back and listen to it.
Chuck Farrell, come on board.
Chuck Farrell, what's up, man?
Hey, Chuck, how's it going?
Hi there, guys. Good.
So where are you at right now in the world?
I'm in my heavily fortified fortress up here on a mountainside in New Hampshire.
All right.
Tuftonboro, New Hampshire.
Hiding out in New Hampshire.
Yeah, hiding out in New Hampshire, and it is beautiful this time of year. Of course, in a couple of months, it won't be so beautiful. I'm going to go down south and hang out with those guys for a while.
So how old were you when you wrote your first song?
Oh, probably 10.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a song. I just, it's something I'd sing to piss my parents off, really. But
when'd you pick up the guitar?
Well, I did find out at an early age that a guitar was a nerd's best chance of actually seeing boobs. So that's truth be known, that's why I really picked it up.
That's why probably everyone gets into music. I hate to spoil it.
I wish I could
maybe like 1%, the true musicians.
And I actually have the official. What the heck is that? That is a Chris Hicks Shadowcaster Stratocaster.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. So, and that he left at my house. So I've been getting to play this last couple of weeks. So maybe he'll forget about it. Leave it here. Who knows?
So what's one of the what do you love about playing with these guys?
Oh, everything. It'd be quicker to say what don't I like. I mean, this is really a bunch of guys that just love hanging out, and I've been fans of theirs since I was a kid, really. And being able to play, there's not a lot of brain hemorrhage when we have a run come up. It's music that is there. You kind of refresh it.
You know the song. You know the song.
It's like Dave was saying. We'll get into the the rehearsal space, and we'll just get playing. It's like, yeah, man, this is good. Let's go to lunch. It just kind of comes together.
So, who are your early music influences?
I mean, the honest answer is whatever I listened to 10 minutes ago. I mean, and it's honest. I listened to so much different music for so many years, and it's like, wow, this kick, or wow, I just heard this great guitar player I'd never heard. But the real foundation, I think, for everybody in this band, especially me, man, the first time that I heard, the Fillmore East for a guitar player, that's the Bible, and so many people that I play with, that is the foundation.
Right.
So we all can kind of speak the same language when you're reading, from that.
Definitely.
So, sit down and have a conversation with anybody, living or dead, or musician or anybody. Who would it be? Say to pick their brain or talk to them about music or whatever.
Wow. Boy, you know what? There's the fourth great question. You've now got 4 really kick-ass questions. 4. Boy, that's a tough one because if you're limited to, if you'd say music.
No, it doesn't have to be music.
Boy, I like to talk to the founding fathers. I'm a big history buff. I'd like to go back and talk to Jesus, to tell you the truth. That'd be kind of a cool thing.
That would be cool. No, that would be cool.
But as far as musicians go, I'm a huge Toy Caldwell fan. I play with Bruce Marshall, who was with the Toy Caldwell band, and I've been playing with him now for the better part of a decade. So I've really had an opportunity to really delve into not only the hits from Tucker, but the deep stuff. And I just have such an appreciation for his approach. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks, Chuck. Oh, man.
Thank you so much.
Like what we're doing right here on Plow Zone Gone Wild. You can have a game plan and a little, some footnotes, but it just takes it turns into its own thing,
Exactly. And that's the fun of it, because you don't know where it's going to go. And
very true. Very, very true. So Chris, tell us how you hooked up with Jeff. I know you guys used to all tour together way back, and
we were all in the Outlaws, but not at the same time.
Not at the same time.
No, we were never played together in the Outlaws together. Jeff and Chris played together.
Oh, okay.
That was after I had left to go form the band with Henry. Yeah. They got involved with Huey, and that was a whole nother version of the band. I think there's probably been 50 or 60 people that have been in that band. That's probably why they call it the Guitar Army.
Yeah, there's a big list of there's a large list of names that were in the Outlaws.
Yeah.
It was still a great band.
It was kind of like going to school.
Yeah. So what song have you written that best describes you, man? That best describes you as the person?
Oh, boy. That's a good one.
Is that another good one or what? Good question?
Yeah, that's two, Scott. That's two.
Some tough questions here. Best describes me as a person. Oh, boy. God.
Don't know where to start.
I don't know where to start with that one. When I write a song, it's either comes from a real life experience, or it's just made up out of thin air, or it's something that you heard that day or read in the paper.
Right, I was going to add, yeah. Do you influences from your daily life or from current events or something?
Yeah, absolutely. You're always looking. When you're a songwriter, you always got an ear out for, or an eye out for the next one,
Definitely.
So let me ask this. What song do you never get tired of playing? What song do you never get tired of playing it? You just jam it every time. You have real, passion for it every time you play it.
Well, as far as Outlaw song, Green Grass and High Tides, every time I play that, it brings back memories of playing with Huey. And, I'll never get tired of playing that, although I've certainly played it a lot. But that one's always a fun one to play for me. And it's, one that people recognize probably the most from that whole era.
When was your first tour? What was your first tour that you did?
Well, I guess it was when I was in Grinder Switch, and they were basically a blues band signed to Capricorn Records, and the Allman Brothers were like our older brothers, and we'd go out and tour with them and Charlie Daniels and Marshall Tucker, and it was like a big Southern rock family back then. And that was probably my first experience on the road was with Grinder Switch, and I was probably 21.
That's growing up, huh? At 21.
Yeah, well, they took me to school for sure.
So what are some of the highs and lows of being on the road on tour, man? I mean, what are some of the things that you really love, and some of the things that kind of suck?
I love going and seeing different places, and you always got your favorite restaurants at places you've been to before, or you've got friends that you've met and you look forward to seeing them again. Sometimes the traveling can get a little tedious when you got, a long way to go between shows, but I really enjoy it. I enjoy seeing new things and meeting new people. And, I usually they'll drop you off at the hotel early in the morning and they go set up, at the gig, and sometimes you're in the middle of nowhere. So I would always take a bicycle with me, put it under the bus, and that way I
get around a little bit.
I could go explore the town. Before that, it was, you'd put on a pair of running shoes and some shorts and you go see the town that way. And it was a good way to, try to stay in shape and,
see where you are.
Work off the beer that you drank the night before. And,
So do you have any, what's your hobbies outside of music, man? What do you enjoy doing outside of music, say?
Well, music is my main hobby, to be honest with you. I spend most of my time in a little studio songwriting and all, but I occasionally do normal things. Tough time doing it sometimes, but I like hanging out with my friends and, working out in the country. And but it's mostly music oriented for me.
Right on.
Very cool. And are you still, Marshall Tucker's still a band? You guys still together?
Oh, yes, we're still a band. We haven't played since March, and probably won't until next year or sometime or another. But yeah, we're still a band. I was talking with Rick Willis earlier today. We were thinking we probably should get together and rehearse before we go out and if we still know how to do what we do. And
good to hear.
Time for us ever not getting together and playing some. So be a good time to work up some different things in the show.
If you could sit down and have a conversation with anybody, say, just sit there and talk to them or pick their brain or whatever, who would it be?
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive?
Genghis Khan.
Really?
Maybe, yeah.
He kicked ass. He was an ass kicker, let me tell you.
Right on. So, any advice you want to give to, say, an up-and-coming musician or anything to the younger generation?
Advice would be have plan A. Plan B is see plan A. Just stick with it, man. You can keep doing it, and things happen. It takes a while for songs or even the music business sometimes for things to happen. So don't get discouraged and plow into it. Plow it forward.
Plow, yep. Okay, keep plowing ahead, baby. Keep plowing ahead. Hey, yep. Chris, you just got plowed right here in the plow zone. Gone wild, man.
That's right.
Get ready for the best bass player in the world, Jeff Howell.
Thank you, Chris. We're going to bring you right back on after. So for the audience, what they're doing is they're coming back and they're bringing back all the old Outlaws songs, some Marshall Tucker songs, because everyone is alumni from all of these bands. And they're playing all the hits, all the big hits, because there was a lot of them.
We are, and AJ, too, he spent some time in a band, the Southern Rock All-Stars, if you're familiar with them at a time, where there was a lot of bands, a lot of members from Blackfoot, former members, original members of, say, Molly Hatchet, and bands of that nature. Definitely Southern heroes. And AJ was friends with Jackson Squires, the drummer, and ended up replacing him for however long, I'm not sure. But so that's AJ. AJ's got a lot of notches on his belt. And as a bass player, when I hit with him, it was fantastic. I go, this is great. Here's the drummer that I don't have to handhold in a way. I can go out and party and be with the guys, rock and engage.
You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about the drummer.
No. I'm constantly checking in with him, and me and him are locking in. It's very telepathic, but it's very cush. It's very cush. And when things are like that, and it's that way to me musically with all these cats, it truly is. So, you just some things you don't question. This has just been a real great ride, and the audience has just been freaking elated. And like Chris Anderson said, so are we. To be fair,
you guys are kicking. You got the great musicians from the Southern music. Oh my God, you guys are killing it. So go ahead, Mr. Plymouth. What you got?
So what's your favorite song to jam with these guys, man? What's this favorite one that you all were just firing on all cylinders?
It's interesting. There's different ones for different ways. So let's take an Outlaw song. Chris said the obvious with Huey. We say, we all had our own relationship, Huey. And if it wasn't for Huey, none of us would be together. So always Greengrass, because that was his big thing. And Ghostwriters, they're hand in hand, the hits. Myself personally, I love You Are the Show. I always have. I love the fact we're doing it. We're doing a killer version of it. I just love that song. With Marshall Tucker, it's just about anything they do. It brings back memories of, oh my God, I forgot how much I love these songs. And I truly do. And I truly do dig playing the bass kind of like.
Hit it.
Come on, Jeff. Here.
I really dig digging into just making the thing trot along as it should. Ton of fun, and great players. And I stand next to Chris Anderson with that Telecaster with the B bender, and it's like, oh man, where's my horse? I'm ready to ride. It's really a blast. And then we do some of the originals. Chris's song "To Be Bad," a really good rocker.
You do This Old Cowboy, You Are the Show, Want to Make Love, Midnight Promises, Fire on the Mountain. Fire on the Mountain. That's got to be a great answer.
It is great. Midnight Promises is a Tucker song that up until Chris told me, I thought he wrote it. When I heard it, I just smiled to myself the first time I heard it. I was learning it for the show this months ago. And it was on the Tucker album. I go, gosh, that's so Chris. And then Chris says, well, that's actually Paul Hornsby. And Paul Hornsby is quite a prominent figure in the music business. He's a discussion on his own. But he actually wrote the song, but Chris sings it, like he does everything else, like he wrote it. He just puts his Chris stamp on it. But Midnight Promise is a great song.
Where's your guys' next show at with Once an Outlaw?
Well, that's in my neck of the woods. Yeah. That's an easy commute for me. That's 15 minutes. So we're up on Lake Winnipesaukee. And man, there's not a more beautiful spot at this time of year. And outside, right on the lake. And Agent I have done shows up there before. And it's
that's October 10th, I believe, right, Chuck?
Yeah, that's right. And then we're up in Mid-Coast, Maine, somewhere, I think, the next day. Way the hell up in Maine. Don't ask me how to get there. It's north.
Yeah.
Just follow the GPS. You'll get there.
Yeah.